Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the August 13th Finance Committee meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Member Cahill, Member Chaplin,
Here.
Member Childress, Member Covert, Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans,
Here.
Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Guston, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozag, Member Rutledge, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu, and Member Zay.
Hey, great. We have a quorum, and I am advised that we do have public comment this morning. Tara Bell.
Morning. Good morning, Finance Committee members. My name is Tara Bell, and I'm a Mattia Valley High School teacher who was involved in the creation of the after-school mental health program in Indian Prairie School District called Indian Prairie Cares. On behalf of our Board of Education and Superintendent, Dr. Adrian Talley, the chief architect of the CARES model, I'm here to ask for your support to fund the continuation of the CARES program at Mattia Valley High School this year. Dr. Talley will be registering for public comment during the 10 a.m. meeting, but was unable to attend right now because he is the keynote at our new teacher orientation. Indian Prairie Cares has proven itself to be a successful model for delivering after-school, no-cost mental health care to low-income students most impacted by the pandemic. Indian Prairie, in partnership with Endeavor Health, created CARES to address early interventions for mental health in grades K-8 post-pandemic. Last year, we received an IDPH grant to expand services to high school students, and we were blessed to receive $250,000 of pandemic funds from Governor Pritzker, which expired June 30th. With those funds, we delivered 903 50-minute no-cost therapy sessions to low-income high school students. The CARES model is unique because it gets kids free help fast, and students are connected through our referral service, Referral GPS, with a local therapist the same week. Post-appointment surveys indicated that families rated the quality of treatment provided as 4.8 out of 5, and 100% recommended continuing the CARES program in the future. If you happen to know a teenager, I'm sure you agree that COVID changed everything. There is an unprecedented need for mental health support post-pandemic due to trauma, isolation, and anxiety, and those needs didn't end June 30th with our IDPH grant. We ask you to please include our proposal in the ARPA funds discussion and fund the continuation of the CARES program at Mattia Valley to provide an additional 38 weeks of services totaling 874 free therapy sessions. School starts next week, and we have no other funding source to continue this program. In your packet, you will see a detailed description of our program, budget, and letter of support from our principal. You have the power to decide whether 2,800 students, of which 760 are low income, have access to after-school mental health care. Rest assured, Indian Prairie will commit all ARPA funds in accordance with the 12/31/24 deadline. Regardless of the outcome, we wish to thank Mattia's County Board Rep, Member Guston, for her support and want to all constituents to know that she is a strong advocate for education, mental health, and wellness within the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amit Thacker.
Thank you guys for having me here today. Tara did such a great job at just kind of explaining what the program is of the CARES program. And I wanted to make it a little bit more real for you guys and tell you a little bit about one of the families that we've worked with recently. So there was a high school student, brother and sister there who were in junior year and freshman year, and their parents died of a tragic car accident where both parents were in the car at the same time. Grandparents ended up taking custody of the kids, and the grandparents called us really worried about what to do given the grief and loss that they were going through. Now, the difficult part, as you know, is there's obviously such an incredible need in a situation like this, and then you got to figure out insurance, right? Well, the grandparents, they didn't have the kids on their insurance. They're trying to go to the county and figure out how to get them registered for Medicaid or managed Medicaid, but there's a lot of paperwork to be done just even from an estate perspective. Luckily, they had a program like CARES, and they reached out and said, while we're trying to figure this out, is there any way you can help really just from a grief and loss perspective, because these kids are reeling. And we really, as caregivers or the grandparents, are like, we're struggling, right? This was not something that we anticipated. It's a tragic loss for the entire family unit, and we're just trying to hold it together. Luckily, we were able to help them find care and get them in to both see therapists within 7 days. It was done at their school district, so they didn't have to figure out travel or transportation. That's one of those things that was a game changer, not only for those kids, but for those grandparents who took on this entirely new endeavor that they weren't planning on doing. So pretty shortly after we got the kids connected, we connected with the grandparents and offered them some support as well, because they really needed it. And so that's the kind of impact that these programs have. I know in finance, you guys look at a lot of the numbers, and it's hard to really put it down into a story to figure out the impact of what these numbers really mean and drive. But think about those stories as you guys are evaluating these projects and saying what may make sense and what may not. And even if this doesn't make sense, I'm blessed to be in an opportunity to make an impact in DuPage County. I work in a lot of different counties with referral GPS, and I got to say, you guys do probably the best at looking at how to make an impact, not only with financials, but with the community support. So I applaud you guys for the work that you guys do. Thanks for allowing me to come up here, and thank you, Rep. Lucy Chang and Patty Gustin and the others that have listened to some of the stories that we've brought forward and decided to support making an impact in an endeavor like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and that concludes our public comment. So we move on to chairwoman remarks. So I just want to welcome everybody back. Nice to see everyone. And we will be ending the meeting promptly at 9:30. We have a special event between 9:30 and 10, so I do have to stop the meeting right at 9:30. Okay, and with that, we move on to our Baker Tilly presentation, our audit presentation, and we welcome Joseph Lightcap to the podium. Morning.
I didn't press. Thank you very much. All right, thank you for having me this morning. Before I get started, I'd like to thank the finance department for all their assistance during the audit. We are out here for a long bit of time. We ask for a lot of documentation and a lot of questions from our team. And the finance department, as always, is very quick and thorough with their responses. So that is much appreciated, makes our job that much easier. The next slide, a little bit about my agenda. I apologize a little bit. There has been an amendment to the agenda. I will talk about our engagement team, but that's at the end, and then open discussion. Can be any time really that the finance committee has questions, but I will be talking mainly about the 2023 audit deliverables, being the audited financial statements and the reporting and insights letter. So about the 2023 audit deliverables, on the couple slides from here, deliverable 1 was the audited financial statements for the year ended November 30th, 2023, audited in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards in the United States of America. And then the reporting and insights from the 2023 audit were a couple of. If you want to, can we advance the one more? Thank you. We also performed a single audit, the audit of the federal awards of the county, and that was produced and delivered June 21st. The audited financial statements were completed and dated May 30th, 2024. 2 slides. So in the audited financial statements, a little bit about that with the non-audited services provided with in addition to the audit. So we perform the audit, but as a service, we also prepare the annual comprehensive financial statements. We propose adjusting and conversion journal entries, and we prepare the auditee section of the data collection form, which is the format that the federal awards report is presented to the federal government. While we help the county prepare these reports and perform these services, management ultimately takes responsibility for everything we do, and everything in the annual comprehensive financial report is county information and financial information from the county. On the next slide, about the independent auditor's report, we once again issued a clean or unmodified opinion on the county's financial statements. It's the highest level of assurance you can gain from your outside auditors, and states that the information within is materially correct in all, or it's correct in all material respects and can be reasonably relied upon by an outside user of the financial statements. Once again, the DuPage Airport Authority, we did not audit that. It's audited by other auditors. Under the reporting and insights letter, this satisfies a few different auditing standards that we're required to report on to management and the board. It discusses a little bit about auditors' responsibilities with the objective of the financial statement audit to express an opinion on the financial statements. And then we consider internal control over financial reporting for the purpose of expressing our opinion and determining the nature, timing, and extent of our audit procedures. On the next slide is a little bit about management's responsibilities. So prepare and fairly present the financial statements, establish and maintain effective internal controls over financial reporting in compliance with laws, regulations, contracts, and grants. Compliance with the types of requirements described in the OMB compliance supplement. So those are the federal regulations that you have on your federal grants. And then provide us with written representations at the conclusion of the audit. Those written representations are in the back of the audit results letter, should you be more curious or more interested in what those state. On the next slide is a little bit about qualitative aspects of accounting policies. So for accounting policies, there was one change during the year. The county adopted GASB 96 for subscription-based information technology arrangements. What this did is it put an additional liability and asset on the county records for about $12.5 million at 11/30/2023. There's no impact to your bottom line net position. It's just an asset and a liability, but GASB is, so the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, they're especially interested these days in what kind of liabilities are out there, what future payments do you have. And accounting estimates, they were reasonable in relation to the financial statements as a whole. The financial statement disclosures were neutral, consistent, and clear. We had no difficulties performing the audit. There were no material audit adjustments. There was one past adjustment, which we have every year. It's a discrepancy between IMRF, their actuarial valuation, and their audited financial statements. It's more of a timing difference than anything else, not something we can correct at the local level. So this is consistent with all the other local government audits that we do. There were no disagreements with management, no consultations with other accountants. The management representation letter, as I mentioned, has been provided. There's no other significant issues discussed, and other audit issues discussed in the normal course of business. So very much a clean report in terms of the qualitative aspects of accounting policies. On the next slide is a little bit about new accounting pronouncements. As always, we work with management and finance department to implement new accounting standards as we did this year and we have in the past. The next couple of years are lighter in terms of new accounting standards that'll be implemented, but once again, we'll work with management to help implement these and get them into the county's financial statements in a reasonable manner. On the next slide, a little bit about internal control matters. So we look at internal controls of the county, as I mentioned earlier, to determine the nature, timing, and extent of our audit procedures. We don't provide an opinion on internal controls, but if there was something that we felt that the board should know about, those are generally classified as a significant deficiency. We would report those, or if we thought that something could potentially result in a material misstatement to the financial statements, that would be a material weakness and presented. I'm happy to report this year that there are no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses presented. In the past, we did have a significant deficiencies on non-treasurer held bank accounts, but there's been a significant effort at the county level to help remediate that and get more of those outside accounts into the general ledger, recorded on a monthly basis, and working with the departments to help clean that up. So it was on there for a few years, but it's good that it's been worked on and now it's not a part of the letter. We did have other comments and recommendations, so nothing that was required to be reported as far as internal control weaknesses, but it was something that came to our attention, and we felt that it should be included in the report, and that is around the procurement concerns around the election division. And our comment is just pretty much a recommendation that all procurement should go through a formal process to make sure that expenditures are authorized in advance and goes through a good procurement process to make sure that the county is being as responsible with funds and transparency in the procurement process. This is nothing that we found during our audit procedures, but since it was a big discussion, we put it in the letter to get our recommendation out there. The next slide is just on questions. If there are any at this time, happy to talk about those.
Great, thank you. Do we have any questions from any of the members? Okay, Member Cahill and then Member Krajewski.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe. I really appreciate your comments. I really appreciate the report. It's wonderful also that we were awarded the GFOA Certificate of Achievement in Reporting Excellence, which is really great. I wanted to say that as a CPA, current CPA, licensed and practicing, and a former auditor at Ernst & Young, during our discussions with the clerk's office and the non-compliance with the procurement, I brought these issues to Joe's attention, and we had a number of discussions regarding the non-compliance in the clerk's office and how to handle this and how would this affect the financial statements. And I believe as a result of Joe's investigation, the management letter comment came out. And this is really well-written and well documented for us here at the county to see what he recommends going forward. And I think it's really good to it's kind of long, but it basically, I hope everyone got a chance to read it, because it says the use of best practices is essential for ensuring transparency, promoting open competition, maintaining compliance, especially when state and federal grant-funded projects are involved. So transparency helps to build trust with the public. And then you also talked about in your comment about what happens when there is non-compliance. Non-compliance can result in penalties, loss of grant funding. And so this is a comment that our outside auditor, the expert, is suggesting to us here at the county that the clerk's office and frankly, all county departments comply with some form of documented procurement procedures and pre-authorization of expenditures, which I hope going forward is what is going to happen here. That is what my suggestion is where do we go from here? Where are we in the clerk's office? Are we going out for bid? Are we doing that now? I think the last comment I wanted to make is that you brought up a good point that the management letter comments are to be cleared. They're not to be kept there year after year. The one comment about the cash accounts not held in the treasurer's office was a concern of mine, and yet that comment has been cleared, meaning all those accounts, except what is allowed by state statute, have now come into compliance. This is something that I don't want to see as a part of our official audit report next year or a part of our letter next year. I don't want to see this recommendation that all departments need to go out to bid. We need to have this cleared. So what I want to know is going forward, I want to make sure that our clerk's office is coming into compliance with this suggestion by our external auditor. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Cahill. Member Krajewski.
Thank you. And to pick up on Member Cahill's comments, well, I was a Deloitte guy, not Ernst, excuse me, Ernst. But I want to thank the staff over the last couple of years, because if we go back prior to Baker Tilly coming on board, and then when you guys came on, we had the same comments year after year in the management letter and never seemed to be addressed. But, you know, Jeff, since he's been on board, we've addressed, you know, all these management letter comments. I didn't get a chance to look at this, although I did just pull it up 5 minutes ago, and I went right to the management letter and saw what Member Cahill just stated regarding the clerk's office. My question just is regarding, you know, we've had it for years, the non-held accounts and the treasurer. I think we still have some of these accounts that aren't under the treasurer. And I know your comment last year was it opens it up for fraud. I know you said we cleared it. And all the ones that we're required to have here. I don't know, is that the case? All the ones that are not state held that can be off are underneath now, or do we still have a few out there?
I think there's still a few out there and finance can clarify, but there's additional work being done to make sure that there's reconciliations and the
And I
controls
think
are
that
in
every
place.
one of these EOs that come in front of us need to tell us why they won't bring it underneath the clerk's office, because I know we haven't had one report in front of us yet from one elected official's office, but I know Jason sent stuff to me a few weeks ago to look at. And I was just amazed at how much interest income was being generated. So for the interest income to be generated, there had to be a lot of money off-site that they're under their control because they're the one projecting it. So the question is, I mean, we cleared the comment, but do we still have some out there? And if we do, why aren't we getting them back on?
Well, to clarify, we did meet with those departments, with the state's attorney, myself, my staff. A lot of these accounts can be controlled by the elected office via state statute. So we did come to an agreement, in particular, the circuit court clerk. They're sending us the statements and we're putting all of those bank accounts on the general ledger, reconciling it. So we actually do have the ability to look at those and reconcile those monthly. But again, state statute for for some of these gives that elected department the ability to control it within the department.
Right, but there's some outside the state statute that allows them to control that are still not underneath us,
I think we cleared most of that up, or all of it,
all of them.
all of it up, yeah.
Because then the flip
We-
side was also is, you know, our treasurer's done a phenomenal job in investing that money and the rate of return on it. So I know one of the questions I asked Jason was, and you referenced the circuit court clerk, how much interest income they're projecting, but what are the rates that they're getting compared to how our treasurer's been investing the funds? And are they getting similar rates? I don't know. I kind of thought maybe they were in CDs for the simple fact that when I looked at the last 5-year history, I had some years with zero interest and actual, and other years, so it had interest income. And so I'm like, how did they have zero unless it was invested in a long-term CD that was over that? So I don't know that answer, but again, that's something that I would like to see is, you know, okay, if they're going to keep it off book as a state, how are they investing in it? And are they doing it similar to what the treasurer is? Or is it a lot less? I don't know the answer.
Yeah, we can reach out to that department to see where their investments are held at and what kind of rates they're getting if you know, if they want to discuss that, sure.
And I mean, Joe, the same comment, even though the state statute allows these off-site, I think your comment last year was when it's not underneath our control, it potentially opens it up for under internal controls for, you know, potential fraud, I think was the word that was used in there. I guess we're getting stuff monthly now, so we're getting a look at it. So that probably makes the internal controls slightly better than what it was. Not as good as if it was under us. You can say yes.
Well, the extent of the funds that we're talking about, I mean, we're not going in and looking at the internal controls in those departments. So it's hard for me to say what is going on there to the extent. Sure, it's possible that things could happen because we're mainly looking at how the finance department handles the operations and the internal controls around disbursements and payroll related to those. Yeah.
And that as a board oversight is my concern is that we don't know internal controls on these EOs. And you did have the other comment in there on the circuit court clerk, or see the clerk with regards to the election process. So again, internal controls, the lack of the bidding, we just don't know. And you know, it's difficult for us. Don't know those internal controls they're doing. But thank you again. You know, Jeff, great job. I mean, seriously, we don't have any of these. I mean, years ago, we had the same comment year after year after year. And that's the first thing I tell you, you know, when you issue your management letter, that's the first thing everybody should address is getting those cleared up and off of there. But you've done a great job, Jeff, in making sure that you got those gone. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Yes. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, so we did get that report late last night and I think the whole report's like 326 pages. So any questions that we have, we can send to either Jeff or Joe. Would that be okay? Yeah, and I also do want to thank Jeff and the finance team for their hard work. You know, we've really done a great job, even getting our bond rating back up to the AAA from the AA. That's been a lot of great work by our whole staff. So yeah, so thank everyone. And thank you, Joe, for coming in.
Thank you. And the last slide does have my contact information.
Oh,
As does
great.
the audit results letter of myself and the core management team for the audit. So obviously, of course, if there's any questions throughout the year, I'm happy to have a discussion.
Great.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So with that, we move on to item 6, approval of minutes. Can I have a motion on 1982, Finance Committee, regular meeting minutes from July 9th, 2024. I had a motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Ozad, or member Guston. Any discussion or changes to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Okay, we move on to budget transfers. Can I have a motion on 24-21-54 transfer of funds from auditing and accounting services to software in the amount of $9,946 to cover prepaid expense for 4.5 months of open gov proposal evaluation costs for 2024. I had a motion by member Yu, second by member Garcia. Any discussion on this? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Can I have a motion on 24-21-55 transfer of funds from other professional services to overtime in the amount of $25,000 to cover overtime costs due to a backlog of processing documents? Motion by member Yu, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Can I have a motion on 24-21-56 budget transfers, 8/13/2024, various companies and accounting units? Member by member Rutledge, second by member Childress. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We move on to procurement requisitions, and we have finance, and I'll call on member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on 24-2139, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Printing Supplies USA LLC to supply various remanufactured and OEM toner cartridges to various county departments for price not to exceed $18,000.
A motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Krajewski. We move on to development, and I'll call a member Tornatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of DCP 2-24, an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Roselle and the County of DuPage with regards to removal of hazardous materials from a dangerous and unsafe building within the Village of Roselle, funds from the Neighborhood Revitalization Fund not to exceed $50,000.
Motion by member Tornatori, second by member Rutledge. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We move on to ETSB and member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on ETSR 5924, a resolution approving a mutual termination agreement between the County of DuPage on behalf of the Emergency Telephone System Board of DuPage County and the Village of Addison.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Guston. Any discussion? Oh, member Eckhoff.
No, we're gonna talk about this tomorrow, but you explain why we're doing this today. Was gonna call you this afternoon, but
We have Anthony and Linda up here. Good morning, Anthony. Oh, go ahead, Linda.
Good morning. This is a contract, you have this contract because ETSB can't enter into an intergovernmental agreement on its own as an agency of the county, so it comes before you on our behalf. That's the reason that it is here. This is an intergovernmental agreement regarding the Hexagon DuPage Justice Information System, which takes in the CAD and police, the computer aided dispatch for the dispatch centers and the police report writing system. And so the exit agreement covers the police report writing system. And so on that regard, I'll let Anthony McPherson handle the exit agreement because it has to do with that system.
Thanks. Member Eckhoff. So essentially Addison decided to leave our consortium. For those of you who don't know, DuPage County has one of the largest police records management consortiums in the United States. So we have a total of 32 agencies who are part of our consortium. And that means essentially they use our records management system through Hexagon to share police information, police data create reports, and then collaborate amongst the different agencies. Addison decided in 2021, that they wanted to move to a different solution, a solution by the name of Axon. Most of you may know of Axon because of their tasers and their body cameras. So they're well known for that. So Addison had a relationship with Axon. Axon recently entered the records management space, and they were interested in moving to Axon. So the termination essentially allows for them to leave the consortium, to enter in, to leave the consortium so they can
They decided
implement
this,
their new Axon's RMS solution.
they decided this 3 years ago.
They did.
So, I mean,
It took 3 years for them to work on transitioning to different systems and to move off of it. It's a
is
complex
this
system with a lot of
resolution
data.
subject to parent committee approval?
I'm sorry.
tomorrow?
It needs parent, we need to vote on this tomorrow, yes.
So, I mean, I don't want to take all of everybody's time here today, but it just seemed to me that, you know, we tried to, I thought, move together as a group, DuCom, ACDC and everybody, and this seems to be going the opposite direction. So,
To a certain degree, you're absolutely right, but we can't control it, right? They have the ability to leave. Any of the agencies have the ability to leave. And
well, I guess what I'm saying is, since they decided that 3 years ago, have we considered doing it, not we ETSB, but DuCom? So that we have both 9 and 11 roofs going in the same direction, or is there some reason that they're not? I just don't understand the pros and cons of it.
yeah, so, but I think you're conflating two things. So you mentioned DuCom, which is really the CAD side, right? So so the dispatch piece of it, so Hexagon has two components to its contract. One is CAD, which is managed by ETSB. The other is the police records management side, which is managed by county IT. So CAD is intact. They're not leaving the CAD side of things. So that will still be in place. They
No,
still,
they're leaving the record management.
they're just leaving the police
Doesn't
records
DuCom
management side.
participate in that too?
I'm sorry?
Doesn't DuCom participate in their record management too?
No, it's dispatch. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Member Eckhoff. Member you.
Thank you, Chair. I think it also what might help to understand that there is an RFP that is going to be put out in process for the PRMS system. Is that right, Anthony?
That is absolutely right. So it's not directly related to Addison leaving, but it is an answer to new players in the RMS space. So there are new players with new technology. Axon is one of them. There are police agencies who are excited about some of the new technology. It happens all the time. So the old players have been around for a while. They don't always have the same bells and whistles as the new players. So in order to open it up to other RMS systems, to explore systems, to really just address their concerns as well, we're going to do an RFP in September if we get approval by the PRMS Oversight Committee tomorrow to move forward with the RFP. But the RFP will allow for us to evaluate our existing system plus new systems and then determine what's the best system for the overall consortium, for the overall consortium. The biggest piece of this and the most important piece I think that is important for everyone to remember is that the consortium is not tied to any one application. It's tied to being a consortium and collaborating across the different agencies. And that's what's important to us.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. We move on to, Human Services, Member Schwarzy.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'll move on HSP 2824, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Cooks Direct Inc. for replacement ice and water dispensers for the DuPage Care Center for the period August 14th, 24 through November 30th of 24, for a contract total not to exceed $51,845.52.
Motion by Member Schwarzy, second by Member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Shorzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 2924, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Lakeshore Dairy Inc. for fluid dairy for the DuPage Care Center residents, cafeteria and cafes on county campus for the period September 1st, 24 through August 31st, 25, for a contract total amount not to exceed $83,000.
Motion by member Shorzy, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Shorzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 3024, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Warehouse Direct for hand soap and personal care items for the DuPage Care Center for the period of September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2026, for a contract total amount not to exceed $61,420.
Motion by member Shorzy, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Shorzy. We move on to judicial and public safety. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move on JPSCO eight 24, amendment to purchase order 6879 one serve issued to Monterey Security to increase contract in the amount of $150,000 for increased security services at the DuPage County Health Department for a new contract total amount of $1,518,375. And that's an increase of 10.96%.
Motion by member Evans. Who made the second? Second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 21 24. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to National Association of State Head Injury Administrators for developing and implementing an online on-demand brain injury training designed to provide education to the DuPage BTC team for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027, for a total contract amount not to exceed $52,250, and that's sole source.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 22 24. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Stock Enterprises LLC for the purchase of Grappler Police Bumper Kits and training for the Sheriff's Office for the period of August 13th, 2024 through August 12th, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $31,000.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And finally, I'd like to move on JPSP 23 24. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Untethered Labs, Inc. for the purchase of the Gatekeeper system for the Sheriff's Office for the period of August 13th, 2024 through August 12th, 2025, for a contract total amount not to exceed $61,980.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, member Evans. We move on to Public Works. Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair. I make a motion to approve FMP 001324, recommendation for the approval of a contract to White Construction Services, Inc. to provide professional construction manager as advisor services for the JTK Administration Building HVAC replacement project for facilities management for the period of August 13th, 2024 through December 31st, 2026, for a total contract amount not to exceed $1,588,000 and $1,588,928.
I have a motion by member Garcia, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FMP 003224, recommendation for the approval of contract to Air Filter Solutions LLC to furnish and deliver air filters as needed for county facilities for facilities management for the period of September 27th, 2024 through September 26th, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $138,100 for renewal option.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve PWP 001624, recommendation for the approval of a contract to More Oil Company to furnish and deliver non-highway use, number 1 and number 2, red dyed diesel fuel for the Public Works emergency generators at Woodridge Green Valley Wastewater Treatment Plant, Knollwood Wastewater Treatment Plant, and Nordic Wastewater Treatment Plant for the period of August 13, 2024 to August 12, 2026 for a total contract not to exceed $100,000.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve PWP 001724 recommendation for the approval of contract to LAI Limited for the purchase of Desert Inc., APCO Inc., Hilton brand, and Red Valve representation, repair parts, as well as Rotark valve actuators and repair parts for the Woodridge Green Valley wastewater treatment plant, or treatment facility, Knollwood wastewater treatment facility, and Nordic wastewater treatment facility for public works for the period of August 13, 2024 to August 12, 2028 for a total contract amount not to exceed $200,000.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve PWO 000424 acceptance of the substantive and technical changes to Chapter 36 of the DuPage County Water Supply Distribution and Wastewater Treatment Ordinance.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, member Garcia. We move on to stormwater and a call member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on 24-2003, an amendment to resolution SMP 5923 issued to Hay and Associates, Inc. for professional engineering services to design stream bank stabilization project throughout the county and to increase the contract the amount by $48,205, resulting in amended contract not to exceed $133,005.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 20-24 recommendation to for an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and Bloomingdale Township for Mallard Landing drainage improvement for an agreement in the amount not to exceed $90,000.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 21-24. Approval of contract issued to Cooper Haven Construction for the St. Joseph's Creek condominium drainage improvement, Building C, in the amount not to exceed $1,720,415 per lowest responsible bid. This is also FEMA funded.
A motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 22-24, approval of contract issued to Cooper Haven Construction for St. Joseph's Creek condominium drainage improvement projects, Building A and B, in the amount not to exceed $2,035,871 per lowest responsible bid. This is an ARPA item.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMR 3-24, resolution improvement agreement between the County of DuPage and St. Joseph's Creek Condominium Associations for the St. Joseph Creek Condominium Flood Mitigation Project.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Guston. And did you have a question?
Yeah, I do have one question.
Yes.
Obviously, this is a great project. I mean, amazing, because my mother-in-law who passed away lived in the St. Joseph condominium complex. And it's a beautiful area there. The one question I do have though, in all of these items, is the stream bank stabilization program. Is staff here to kind of talk a little bit about maybe what those dollars will look like when they're spent? So does it mean there's going to be foliage in there? Does it mean it's going to be riprap? Does it mean it's going to be concrete? What does that look like really quick? Just a snapshot, because you guys have done a great job and this is a great investment. Yes, St. Joseph Creek and the stabilization, so the stream bank stabilization.
Yeah, so any stream bank stabilization will be done with native vegetation and green infrastructure, things like that. No riprap. We aren't actually doing anything right along the stream as far as protecting those buildings. It involves flood walls and flood gates. There are underground storage parking areas that get flooded. And so these flood control gates will only operate when elevations increase, and the gate will come up and protect that garage area. And then there'll be some flood walls around the buildings. The only stream bank stuff that we're going to be doing will be, we're going to have some pumping stations that are going to pump water into the stream. And so around those areas, there will be some stream bank stabilization, but that will be done with native vegetation.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is the same exact
Thank you.
project we did at Growl Mill. I mean, basically
Yes.
putting flood devices up and protecting the condominiums. And then they are responsible then for all future maintenance of the facilities.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Member Zay.
Thank you.
We move on to technology. Member you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on to EP 9-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Insight Public Sector for the purchase of KnowBe4 software for cybersecurity awareness training and phishing testing for the IT department for the period of October 29, 2024 through October 28, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $31,296.
Motion by Member you, second by Member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member you.
Thank you. I move on TEP 10-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to SHI International Corp. for the procurement of laptops, stocks, and monitors for IT and probation for the period of August 20, 2024 through August 19, 2025, for a contract total amount of $664,623.43. This is an ARPA item.
A motion by Member you, second by Member Rutledge, and Member Zay, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I did have a question here. You know, there's no, any kind of decision memos. It seems like a lot of money for two departments. I mean, do we have a capital plan for IT where we have a schedule of what's going to be replaced for each department? I mean, again, there's no decision memo. It's really hard to just say it's just for laptop stocks, monitors, just for IT and for probation. Does IT then pass that out to other departments, or how does that work?
We do. So no, good morning, members. So number one, no, there isn't an actual decision memo. We do have a plan for replacing devices over a 5-year period. We have which departments are impacted depending on the age of the different devices. We do have that information. We can share that with you. In this particular case, IT will purchase those devices for State's Attorney's Office, Public Defender, Probation, and the HR department. So it's not just that one department.
Wouldn't it be easier to fill out a decision memo that said that basically said we're buying for X departments to replace old, technology?
Yeah, we can definitely do that if you'd like for us to do that. So that's not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Zay. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on to EP 11-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Gartner Inc. for one subscription for CIO's individual access and one subscription for technical professionals, advisor small and mid-sized business enterprise access for IT for the period of October 1, 2024 through September 30, 2025, for a contract total amount of $141,685.
Motion by Member you, second by Member Garcia. Member Zay seeking recognition. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry, again, there's no decision memo. I mean, this is for access for two people. This seems like a lot of money for two people to have access to this, whatever this is. I mean, can you explain a little bit what this is and
Sure.
why there's only two people and who it affects?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. Good question, Members A. So this is essentially a subscription for myself, CIO, and the deputy CIO to have access to Gartner. Gartner is essentially the global IT leader in IT research. They provide not only research for new and existing products, they provide analysts who support us. They review RFPs. They do a lot of different services for us as part of this. The subscription, there are two named people on the subscription, but the second subscription, which is for the deputy CIO, it's really for IT leaders. So it allows us to, for technical people, not IT leaders. My subscription is for IT leaders. His is actually for technical people, but it allows our technical people to have access to more technical resources when they have questions, they run into problems, they want to do research themselves. So it actually extends beyond the two individuals that are named in the subscriptions. We, because of the way it's structured, we have to submit things on their behalf, but the team gets access to those same resources.
Okay, is this something you guys use all the time? It's not an amount not to exceed, so.
No,
If you don't use it, I mean, how much do you guys use this? I mean,
we use it a lot. So it actually extends our bench. So we have a relatively lean IT organization, less than 60 people that manages over 2,400 devices and lot of users. And then if you extend to what we do with the website and how we interact with the public, it's relatively small and lean. This allows for us to seek expertise outside of our bench, right? To go to other subject matter experts who are essentially worldwide, ask questions. When CrowdStrike hit, we brought in a CrowdStrike expert. Things like ransomware, we contacted these guys who dealt with ransomware throughout the country to ask, how do we prepare for ransomware? If we ever get hit with it, what's the mediation strategy? Are there any templates that we can use? And what do we do moving forward? So it brings that to the table for us. It helps us a lot. It also helps us with RFPs, and I'll try to figure out a way to quantify how we save money, but they review our RFPs to make sure we're not missing anything. They tell us, and our contracts too. So they'll look at our contracts if we ask, and they'll say, hey, have you guys thought about this? Have you negotiated this? Have you gone to this organization instead of this one? So it allows for us to do a lot more with what we currently have.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Member Zay. Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Member
you, Madam
Yu.
Chair. I just want to also add that there was a decision memo procurement review comprehensive checklist for this item and the item before, but thank you, Anthony, for the additional detail. All right, so I move on to EP 12-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Kara Company, Inc. for the management of the county GPS core sites to include operating, monitoring, and upgrading of software and firmware for IT GIS division for the period of September 1, 2024 through August 31, 2025 for a contract total amount of $39,500.
Motion by Member Yu, second by Member Galassi. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Yu.
Thank you. And I move on to EP 13-24, recommendation for the approval of contract purchase order to AT&T Mobility for the annual licensing and maintenance of AirWatch mobile device management for IT for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025 for a contract total amount of $32,040.
Motion by Member Yu, second by Member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Yu.
And finally, I move on to EP 14-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Karasoft Technology Group for the procurement of UiPath robotics process automation licensing for IT for the period of August 14, 2024 through August 13, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $31,360.
Motion by Member Yu, second by Member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Member Yu. We
Thank
move
you.
on to transportation and Member Ozak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval of 2017 amendment to Resolution DTP 015422 issued to Knight EA Incorporated for professional Phase 2 design engineering services for improvements along County Highway 21 from Illinois Route 38 to the county line to increase the funding in the amount of $76,405.80, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $805,354.66.
Motion by Member Ozak, second by Member Rutledge. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Ozak.
Thanks. I move for approval of 2021 amendment to Resolution DTR 007023 issued to H&H Electric Company for LED traffic signal head replacements at various locations within DuPage County to increase the funding in the amount of $6,340.18, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $288,325.77.
Motion by Member Ozak, second by Member Galassi. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Ozak.
Thanks. I move for approval of DTP 004524, recommendation for the approval of a contract renewal to AT&T Corporation to provide analog quick telecommunication services as needed for the Division of Transportation to communicate with traffic signals for the period August 30th, 2024 through March 31st, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $40,000.
Motion by Member Ozak, second by Member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Ozak.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTR 002924, awarding resolution to H&H Electric Company for LED traffic signal head replacements at various locations in DuPage County with an estimated county cost of $329,999.42 per lowest responsible bid.
Motion by Member Ozak, second by Member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Ozak.
And finally, I move for approval of DTR 003024, awarding resolution issued to Alliance Contractors Incorporated for the 2024 retaining wall repair program for an estimated county cost of $354,804
per lowest responsible bid.
Motion by member Ozak, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Ozak. We
Thank
move
you.
on to finance resolutions and I'll call on member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to combine items 9A through D, which are all acceptance and appropriation resolutions.
I have a motion by member Krajewski and a second by member Guston to combine and improve items A through D under finance. All in favor? Opposed? The items are combined. Please proceed, member Krajewski.
FIR 0123-24, acceptance appropriation of the National Forensic Science Improvement Program grant for $75,000. FIR 0124-24, acceptance appropriation of the Illinois Department of Human Services Homeless Prevention Grant, $384,000. FIR 0126-24, acceptance appropriation of the Illinois Department of Human Services Rapid Rehousing Program grant for $89,920, and FIR 0129-24, acceptance appropriation of the U.S. Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Assistance Veterans Treatment Court Innovations Program grant for $67,650.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion on any of these items here? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0127-24, additional appropriation for the Building Zoning and Planning Fund, $30,700.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0130-24, placing names on payroll.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0140-24, revision to the Personnel Policy Manual 5.4 sick time.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0141-24, revisions to the Personnel Policy 6.5, employee retention.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Member Krajewski.
And Madam Chair, I move on FIR 0137-24, approval of amendment to the Infrastructure Investment Grant Program to extend the eligibility expenses end date in the agreement from August 15th to October 31st, 2024. This is ARPA interest.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0128-24, approval of additional funds for the Infrastructure Investment Grant Program Round 2 to provide funding in the amount of $355,180.30. ARPA item.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0131-24, approval of amendment to the grant agreement between the County of DuPage and Choose DuPage for participation in the Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership. That ARPA item.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0132-24, approval of an amendment to the grant agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for Tourism and Travel Attraction. ARPA item.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0133-24, approval of an amendment to the grant agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage County and Visitors Bureau for the Visit Chicagoland Cooperative Advertising Program. ARPA item.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
And Madam Chair, I move on FIR 0134-24, approval of an amendment to the grant agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for the Hotel Assistance Program. ARPA item.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Glassy. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Madam Chair, I move on FIR 0135-24, approval of an amendment to the grant agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage Senior Citizens Council for the Drive-Through Meals Program, which is ARPA item.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any member Desart.
Thank you. This is a wonderful program from member Garcia. So thank you for this. But in the decision memo, I saw that it's we first approved this in, I think, July of 23. Anyway, it said $240,000. So is this an additional $240,000? Or could you remind me about how much this is, please? Because I didn't see it in the packet. I only
Oh,
saw what last year's
And,
was.
and just for clarification, this was not member Garcia's, so this is the
Oh, the
drive.
drive-through.
This is completely different.
I'm giving her credit where credit is not due.
She,
Sorry.
she insisted, she was
I'm your biggest
saying,
fan.
this is not me, this is not me.
Yeah, I
so
just
no.
wanted a clarification
Thank
about
you.
how much we're approving. Thank you.
There's no change in the amount that we're giving. We're extending the grant a little bit, the deadline into next year. As you guys remember, all of these items have to do with the date that we're coming up with at the end of this year, the end of this calendar year, 12/31/2021. We just want to make sure, because they're on the cusp a little bit of potentially not spending all the money, we're just going to extend it into next year. So they'll have plenty of time to spend the entire $240,000.
Thank you. So what is the dollar amount?
240.
240 again. Okay,
Total,
thank you.
Total.
That's total, not
Total.
again. This,
Yeah, no dollar change.
it's
just
extension
date
of the
change.
program because they're not going to spend it all this year. It's an extension, remember to start of the program. It's an extension of the program because they're not going to spend it all.
So
this
it's still 240 total. Gotcha.
Yes,
Thank
yeah,
you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Member Garcia and then member Krajewski.
Just to say thank you for the credit where it wasn't due, but I do go out and give the meals on the weekends that they're here. So and I
Yes, he
invite
does.
any of my county board members to come do that because it's a great thing to do when they're handing the meals out. So.
Thank you, member Garcia. Member Krajewski.
Well, thank you, Member Garcia, for delivering that. And I mean, this is good. I just have a question. I think the DuPage Foundation in this next round is giving them 70,000. Is that for something different, I assume?
Correct.
Well, I understand. So just put more meals for the seniors?
No, the DuPage Foundation Immediate Intervention Grant is being awarded for 2024 is for a vehicle. They have a certain number of seniors currently who are only getting a delivery of frozen meals once a week because they don't have enough volunteer drivers. And so by adding a vehicle to their fleet, they'll be able to have an employee who can actually, so it'll increase the number of.
Take them to the houses?
Yeah,
Oh.
yes, yeah. The majority of what DuPage Senior Citizen Council does is home delivered meals.
Yes. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski.
I move on FIR 0138-24, approval of a grant agreement between the County of DuPage and the COD Art Center. I saw members, they had a question. ARPA funds, interest funds for $50,000.
Okay, I have a motion by member Krajewski, second by member Ozog, and member Zay seeking recognition, and then member Ozog. Go
Thank
ahead,
you,
go
Madam
ahead,
Chair.
member Zay.
You know, not surprised to see this. Seems like a good thing, but we usually get a nice presentation from COD. Is that coming in the future on this?
We were invited to the, oh, here we are. Diana, welcome. Thank you for coming.
I didn't prepare one. I have one, but I can talk to you if you'd like to about it, but I didn't prepare. I didn't know I was going to be presenting today.
No, that's fine. I just, we get good presentations from you, but then we never hear again about how it went. Like the Warhol thing, there was a lot of things that happened.
I'd
It'd
be
be
happy
nice to
to
get like a
report.
recap of how many people came, how much economic interest, things like that event generated. That'd be great. Because honestly, I'm just a little weary of stuff since the Rib Fest thing. We gave Rib Fest 25,000. Now we found out they filed bankruptcy. They own the fairground 60,000. It's not
So-
like anytime COD is going to go out of business.
We had
Yeah.
33,000 visitors, which resulted in about 4 million in economic impact to DuPage County. We had visitors from all 50 states and 23 countries. We feel it was very successful. This show is an international show of Japanese art from Europe. It is one of the most significant collections of Japanese art of Hokusai, the Great Wave. And because of the World's Expo is happening in Japan next year, we think that the timing is really central for visitors that are going to be involved. And we're trying to work with the ambassador to Japan, who happens to be Rahm Emanuel, who's from this area, to also help us to give and shed light on this exhibit, but we feel pretty confident that we're gonna have as good, if not better, than Warhol. I mean, this is not a, I think it's gonna do better because it's international, it's not been here. And so I think that that makes it unique. It's never been in the Chicago, this collection has never been in the Chicago area.
Great, thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you. So Member
Okay.
Ozak, did you want to close on this? Because I have Member
Yes.
Krajewski and then Member Glassy and Member Cahill. So,
I'd like to close.
okay, so Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This should be a good start to your 30% that you have to raise, or at least you're looking to raise in fundraising and donation sponsorships. And I know that the reason you're raising the money is to help the ticket costs be affordable. Do we know what the price of the ticket is? I mean, we're trying to help make it affordable for people to come.
So we have tickets that start at $12 and go up to $25 inclusive of fees.
So if you're doing $12 and $25 and you're expecting 30,000 people to come, you're gonna raise 70% of ticket sales.
Because we have a lot of sponsors.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm just reading the letter that said that the project's $2 million. And to keep the price affordable, you're gonna raise 30% of the funds through grant sponsorship, fundraisers, and ticket sales. is
That's
projected-
700,000 that I'm trying to raise, 750 to be exact.
Yeah, and it says ticket sales is project to raise 70% of the income. It's $2 million. 70% is 5 million. You're only having 30,000 visitors. This letter, $12 or $25. You're gonna get nowhere
Well,
near this.
we sell more, we also, okay, so there's also higher price tickets on Saturdays and Sundays where there's demand. The $12 tickets are for students and groups, but I can send you the number and the breakdown. We do have a budget that breaks down all the ticket costs.
Yeah, I just look at if you're only expecting 30,000.
Well, we're hoping for 50,000.
Okay, so that's in your projection, it'd be 50,000 at whatever the ticket prices, various ones are,
Correct.
is gonna equal your 1.5 million you're gonna need. And I understand you're gonna raise the rest of it, so this should be a good start towards that. I would suggest also, if you haven't already, gone to the Village of Glen Ellen, since they'll be the direct benefactor, being that they're the closest to all these people that are gonna come to the exhibit.
Glen Ellen and Wheaton support in a variety of ways. They give us all their street banners. They help us with promotions and marketing as well and are very committed.
I would suggest cash from them. That I know I was helping the auditorium a couple of years ago, and the first thing I did was call the Village of Westmont, because that's where it was at before I went in and helped with the county getting some, suggesting the county participate. And I said, you're the direct benefactor. So if we're gonna do it at the county, you as the village, and they jumped right in on board because they understood that they were gonna be the biggest benefactor. And yes, there's collateral, there'll people be going outside of Glen Ellen and Wheaton also, but those two municipalities probably should.
To go, and I'm gonna tell them you told me to.
No, feel free. It's like, I mean, but seriously, when we do partner with, organizations, it makes it easier when everybody puts in a little and help you towards your 300,000 you're trying to raise. But they should definitely, they're the ones that the people are gonna go out to eat at closer to the College of DuPage, which will be in downtown Glen Ellen, which has some great restaurants, and so it's downtown Wheaton. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Krajewski. Member Galassi?
Thank you. I'm just kind of reiterating what's already been said, but I think it would be super helpful if we saw like more specific details about the ROI from the, 50,000 that we invested last year for the Warhol exhibit, and just more specifics as far as the budget and how you expect to hit your goals for this exhibit, and how, and how the $50,000 is going to be utilized. I think that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Glassy. Member Cahill?
Just one quick comment. So Medina Country Club is hosting the President's Cup, which will attract a very large international population, but that's in September. When does your exhibit end? It ends in August?
September 21.
Okay, so.
It crosses
if
over.
You can kind of coordinate with the President's Cup and the people in marketing, you will be able to get a lot of people. They're expecting a very large international population. Oh.
It's 2026.
Different. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Would have been great.
Yeah, it was a great thought, great idea, great idea. Okay, thank you, Member Cahill, Member LaPlante.
Hi, I would just like to say that this is a great event for economic development in DuPage County, which is what we focus on. It's also a great event for highlighting the arts in DuPage County, which is also what we focus on here. To that end, we would like to hear more from you. Like, this would be something to come to the Economic Development Committee and present. That's what everyone's wanting to know. More information. We have a committee structure, an internal structure for a reason here at the county, and that's how we do business. So we would like to hear more information so we can best support this initiative and best help drive the economy and the arts in DuPage County. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member LaPlante. Member Ozak.
Thank you. As I recall, you came to us before the Free Day exhibit, and hopefully in the next couple of months, you can come before the board again and let us have a little bit more information, which would be great. My husband and I had the opportunity to go to 2 outdoor concerts at COD in the past couple of weeks, and they were fantastic. And I know they're going to do a third great job on this program as well. So come back and let us know what's going on, and give us some more background in that. Would be
So
great.
I have a question because I just don't understand the protocol. I thought you were invited to present. So do I
You are,
request
yes.
to present?
Yeah, we could have invited you to present, but I didn't think it was gonna be in all these questions were gonna come up. But you know what, I will contact you to come in and do a presentation before the Finance Committee. If you'd like to do that, we can, you can tell us about how successful Frida was and, going forward on this exhibit. And I also want to thank you for all the hard work that you do for the community and promoting the arts. And it's just really an amazing facility. And I was sorry to miss your luncheon for this exhibit, but I had something else planned. But you're really to be commended on the great work that you do in promoting the arts in DuPage County. So thank you very much. And we'll reach out to get you in here one day.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Diana.
No, we're going to go ahead, I believe.
Yeah, to vote on
Yes.
it? Yeah.
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 No, but she'll come back. And
Yes, she'll come back and
It's
give a
what they're
presentation.
doing with the money is,
Yeah.
it's very similar to what was done with the money last year, which was for the Andy Warhol exhibit. So a lot of promotional activity, et
Right.
cetera.
And this was a member initiative, actually.
I'm sorry?
This was really a member initiative that you had brought forward yourself. Member
Right,
Ozak.
but last
Yes.
year they used ARPA, so,
Right.
and this is ARPA's.
So that's why the chain is a little bit different this time because this was a member initiative. Yes.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Okay, now we move on to informational, and I will call on Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to receive and place on file informational items: A, payment of claims; B, wire transfers; C, appointments; and D, grant proposal notifications.
Okay, I have a motion by Member Krajewski and a second by Member Guston to receive and place on file items A, B, C, and D under finance. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, now we move on. Do we have any old business? Okay, seeing none. Do we have any? Member Eckhoff? What? Go ahead. Did I miss some? Go ahead.
Well, I was, I noticed when we went through all of these ARPA items, I'm wondering if staff can put together something about what the total amount that we spent this year, and are people expecting that this money is gonna come through the normal budget once the ARPA money is gone? Because it seems to me that like the COD one, it's nice that we are able to give them that money, but once the money's gone, they're gonna have to be doing this on themselves unless we budget for it. And it seems like that would be a big increase to our budget.
We do have the ARPA presentation that we just did on July, I think it was 9th, right? I have it right here, so we can get that out to you. We did a fairly detailed ARPA
I'm just
presentation.
saying, looking forward.
Oh, looking forward,
that-
yeah.
that it
Go
can
ahead.
be it can be a big budget buster, and we need to keep that in mind when we start
Well,
going
yeah,
through everything.
And I think I have mentioned that many times during our
Yeah.
finance meetings that this ARPA money is going away and that we may not be able to continue all of these
Yeah.
initiatives that
I
we're
just
doing.
saw
But go
everything
ahead, Nick,
on
if you
the-
want to address it, Mary
I
Kevin.
just saw it on the agenda again and I thought I'd repeat it, so.
Your point's well made, and we've actually been discussing that during our budget discussions. A lot of the ARPA, I mean, the one-time ARPA expenses, that isn't as impactful, but the ARPA programs that departments need to continue, that has a substantial impact on our budget. You're starting to see some of those crop into the 25 budget. They will be fully baked out into the 26 budget as ARPA is spent out. So we do have programs out there and we are absolutely paying attention. The good thing I can tell you, unlike many other government agencies, we did not use a lot of the ARPA money for programs. We did do some, and you're seeing it, you know, for example, in facilities management, a portion of their employees were transferred from general fund to ARPA because they built so many projects. Now they have to be transferred back to general fund. So you're going to see that coming out into the budgets moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I think there's a couple more questions. Member Zay and then member Guston, member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know you and I have been talking about this, that, you know, I'm concerned that we have all this talk. I'm getting calls from township officials saying we have all this extra money to spend. I mean, we haven't seen the chair's budget yet. That scares me that everybody thinks we've got surplus out there that we can go out and start spend. And we don't know what the budget looks like next year. You know, we got a lot of programs. We've built a lot of stuff. I know those are one times, but then we have to heat it. We have to put people in it. We have to do other stuff. So again, I would be cautious before we're out spending a lot of money before we see the chair's budget and telling people we've got extra surplus money, you know, until we see what our needs are and what our needs are for next year and the following year.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go along that path there, because the 25 budget is going to be a hard budget. And just so everybody's aware, all the EOs out there, what came in for requests versus expected revenue, there's a $25 million hole. And so are we going to bridge the hole? We will bridge the hole. We will get there. But I mean, it is the days of ARPA and ARPA interest are behind us. And now it's going to be, we're going to have to figure out, you know, our core mission, and then what, you know, the money left over, there's gonna be some decisions to be made. But Member Zay is absolutely correct. It is going to be the you know, the 2019, 2018 budget where there has to be hard decisions made for where to allocate the money.
Thank you. Member Guston?
Thank you very much. What's our timeline on this? Are we looking October, November to get that data and information? Obviously, there's going to have to be some shoring up. Because we don't have when we're going to get the budget, proposed budget draft, what's going to be shoring up what's going to be transferring here, transferring there. The interest on the ARPA, obviously, we're going to be spending down that ARPA money, so we're not going to get as much interest. And that's more of our flexible pocket book versus some of the other stuff. ARPA interest versus ARPA, which is supposed to be spent on mental health, economic development, things like that. And obviously, we're doing a lot of infrastructure. So I guess my time frame, I'm just trying to figure out the exact time frame as to when you need to hear from us and when we have something in our hands as to where the numbers are falling and what people are interested in, like our district members have some programs, things that they would like to support. We just today supported the arts with Member Ozog's initiative. So we need to get a grasp on really what the numbers are we're looking at. Maybe everything is out there, and then we hone in and decide which ones are the ones that we are most passionate about or that is in most need moving forward. Because if we continue to do, you know, 50,000 here, 100,000 there, we're not really getting a big picture on what the bucket is and what we can do with it, or even if the bucket's there. By the time we get this done, the bucket might be empty.
Well, I can follow a couple things. First of all of the ARPA money, ARPA proper, has been allocated. There is zero ARPA money left. ARPA interest, there's about $250,000 unallocated, if I remember, about $250,000 unallocated that is available. So from moving forward, we're talking general fund money, regular budgeting. ARPA interest, you can effectively say is spent. I mean, there's gonna be some reallocations, reacquiring, $250,000 there. But as far as your timeline, the chair has been, there's been a lot of meetings we've had to close that with the $25 million hole with the chair. She will present this board a balanced budget at the second meeting in September. And at that point, that is in your hands to then make modifications, and then you approve it in November. What you're talking about, the member initiatives, I know members have submitted different ideas, different things. My suggestion is you wait till later in the year when you see if there is surplus available. And then at that point, we need to come before you with surplus and say, okay, this is, excess revenue or excess or lower expenses. Here's your here's your surplus. And then you as a board can figure out which of those are priorities to you. But I don't think that's going to happen until probably November, December, to be honest with you.
And as far as the ARPA money, the designated, not the interest, but ARPA, we have deadlines, right? There's certain timeframes that things need to be done. Are we gonna shore that up? Because I know some entities aren't getting that done by the timeline required.
You saw a number of those resolutions on today's agenda. That's what Mary Catherine and her team have been doing nonstop, is to making sure that we are protected financially. And you saw I mean, it's every bit, you had a lot of those on today's meeting where we reduced by 100,000, 125,000. That was, we're absolutely aware of those numbers.
And that'll affect the numbers in November.
Not necessarily in ARPA, because if you remember, that was part of Mary Catherine's presentation a month ago, saying we're going to take these down, and that was already calculated into it.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Guston. Member Ozog?
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the board today for agreeing to the $50,000 grant for College of DuPage. In my discussions with Ms. Martinez, I certainly let her know this is a 1 year at a time situation. And the use of the grant from last year as well as this year are going for programs or for exhibits that highlight CODs. They have an actual art museum now, which was added on to the Mackinac Center. So it's really something that is bringing people back, which is what the essence of the ARPA money was. So I'm really thankful, and I know that they will put it to good use and will be back soon to let us know how they've used the money. But the other thing I wanted to say is that I want to thank the chair for reappointing Sam Torrentore and Paula Deacon Garcia. What was that? I want to thank you both, and I want to thank the chair for nominating you again to the County Board of Health. I really do appreciate your service on the board. So thank you very much. And one last thought too, I really think those of us who were on the board in 2020 when the pandemic hit, and everyone who's joined in 2022, I think this board has done a really good job of spending very responsibly the ARPA money that we were granted. Excuse me, and I'm really not worried that we will not be able to incorporate or deal with the changes that are coming. We've used this money for good reasons and good projects, and we have not used it for operating. And like you said, Nick, that sometimes we put people on various payrolls, et cetera, but it's not been used to keep this boat floating. And I think in that way, we'll be able to reconcile the lack of ARPA money going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Ozog. Member LaPlante, did you have a comment?
I did. I do, just to add to what Member Ozog is saying, this is a better way to do it. Now we're doing it 1 year before this event. The last time we gave money to the MAC, we did it after the event was already over. That's a quite unconventional way to fund something. And so I think we do need to just keep focusing on procedure, on committees, on our infrastructure, and how we do good fiscal business in the County of DuPage. And so this is an improvement, but I do think that's something that we need to tighten up in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we are under old business. Do we have any new business today? Okay, seeing none. Without objection, we're adjourned.